Thanks to the support as a channel member, Chris Spencer. Right, today we're going to correct something that happened a few episodes ago. We played Bayern Munich again, and this time we're not going to lose 6-0. Hello and welcome to Club 5, part 14 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have that Champions League game against Bayern Munich, and then we're also going to face Fiorentina in Serie A. Since you were last with me, we've generally been doing okay. We had a little bit of, I mentioned in the last episode, wobbling away from home, and we've done it again. We went to Roma and actually lost, so our chances of an invincible season are gone. We do seem a little bit susceptible to getting caught out away from home, but then followed that up with a very convincing 3-0 home win against Manchester United, although they are having a difficult start to the season in the Premier League and managed by Wayne Rooney. But still, beating Manchester United 3-0, bearing in mind how good English teams usually are, was a bit of a confidence boost. But we do need a win over Bayern Munich here. We are at home against them, and we are trying to get into this top 8. And if we drop points again, we're very much in danger of not getting there. So a win here is crucial. It's going to take quite the turnaround from when we lost 6-0 to them a few months ago. But we're under new ownership now, so that should make all the difference. We've got Seco in goal, a back four of Leone, Valente, Sotalo and Agostini, Boatini at the base of the midfield, Veloso dos Santos and Gratakos ahead of him, Lazrak on the left, Bilger on the right, Vlahovic up front. Look how good Bilger is getting. He's already a 4.5 star current ability player. He's only 19 years old. He's got 7 goals in 9 international appearances. He's still showing as a wonder kid. He is definitely one of those players who's going to tick over from wonder kid immediately to elite player. He is sensational, and what a season he's having for us as well. 12 goal contributions in 13 matches in the league on a 7.42. He's also got 6 goals from 5 internationally this year. The one place he's not had a standout performance yet is the Champions League. So fingers crossed, today is the day where he fully announces himself as a world superstar in the biggest tournament in the world against the current holders, Bayern Munich, who of course won the Champions League last year, absolutely smashed us in the European Super Cup, but there were extenuating circumstances. We picked up an injury to Vlahovic in that game. We had a player sent off in that game. It all started to go wrong. I think we ended the game down to 9 men and 6-0 down. So we're hoping we're not going to get embarrassed in that way again today. I think that's where part of our problem with playing any matches outside of Turin began. But we are at home today, so hopefully we can banish that demon and in turn, you know, maybe fix the away form by winning a home game. There's logic there. We're still afraid of what happened against Bayern Munich. We need to remind ourselves there's nothing to be afraid of. They're only Bayern Munich, and we want to win the Champions League this year. And comparing this team to my Tottenham team, to my Juventus, to my Barcelona team, sorry, I feel like this is a team that can win the Champions League. There's very little that I would do to this team to improve it, and there's very few players from either of those two teams that would get in this team. I think maybe we'd get a centre back in, maybe we'd get a left back in. That's about it. I don't know. I don't think there's a lot. This feels like the most complete team we've had so far. Maybe I am. I mean, let me know down in the comments section what would be your team of the series so far. Wouldn't that be a fun thing to do? Plus, it's excellent YouTube engagement. So even if you don't want to do it, just say, Kev, no, I'm not gonna do my team of the series so far. And Veloso dos Santos has just scored an absolute screamer from a long way out. I thought I was safe trying to get some YouTube engagement. There's no way he's scoring from here. Leone passes it across him. That must be 35 yards out, and he has just drilled it into the bottom corner. And we go 1-0 up. We've already done more than we managed to achieve the last time we played Bayern Munich. We've scored a football goal. Lazrak plays it out to Leone, and now Valente. And Leone again, oh, he sold him a little bit short there, and Valente has struggled and really, I mean, he won the ball back in the end. He managed to delay things just about long enough to let those around him to recover, but Leone really did cause a problem there with that short pass. And now Boatini, and we're being pressed quite strongly by Bayern Munich here, and we could do with getting the ball over the top to Vlahovic, who gets there ahead of the goalkeeper, and it's 2-0. The referee's got his finger in his ear, but I don't see how that could possibly be offside. he just seemed well on, and he is on, and it's 2-0. And this is a lovely, like, breakaway counter-attack goal. Bilger just took one look, dinked it over the top. Vlahovic always knew where the ball was going, got there ahead of the goalkeeper. It's 2-0. And as it stands, this would move us up into 4th place in this Champions League stage with just the 2 games after Christmas to go, and looking very good for a spot in that top 8. And remember, we didn't even make it into the top 8 in the Europa League last year, and we went on to win that tournament. It's interesting as well to see Tottenham currently top of the Champions League, one of my former teams. Barcelona are up there as well. Preston are up there. 4 teams that I've managed, all vying for spots in the top 8 of the Champions League. I think I'm quite good at Football Manager. I've decided. Look at it. One there, one there, one there. Poor old Preston. I mean, they are the one I managed furthest to go. Longest to go. I know what I mean. It's still 2-0, and we are just comfortably in control of this game. Weirdly, we've not really created a lot. We've only had 3 shots on target, and we've scored 2 of them. And obviously, one of them was an absolute individual moment of awesome from miles away. So it's not that we've completely outplayed Bayern. If anything, they're probably going to be pretty disappointed that they've somehow found themselves 2-0 down in a game that's been fairly even and hasn't had a lot of chances. But we are making it count when it needs to count. And Gratikos won the ball back there, finds Lazrak, who plays it back to Boatini, who is completely unmarked because no one would expect him to be in that area of the pitch. And I don't think he really knew what to do. He kind of dribbled it into the area, knew he was going to have to shoot at some point, and I don't think he really wanted to. And it was straight into the hands of the goalkeeper. But that was another example of us just overwhelming them a little bit in midfield. They're playing this little box formation that is really threatening going forward, as we've seen there, but it does leave them a little bit light in central midfield when we hit them on the counter-attack. Ref, can we have this given as an offside, please? We'd really like a win today. Referee, please and thank you. He's just checking. I think he's going to disallow it. He's disallowed. I had no idea, but he has disallowed it. What a wonderful referee this is. Sometimes referees are just great, and he is offside. You can see he's well offside as well. So, I mean, really, I'd book him for cheating for being that far offside. Right, Agostini's tired. Maggioni's going to come on for him. Boatini is tired. Locatelli can come on for him, and we'll just make Dos Santos a box-to-box midfielder. We're going to have to make 5 substitutions here. Why is everybody so tired? I don't like to make this many substitutions in one go, but we have got so many players who are shattered. We don't really have a choice. There we go. 5 substitutions with 20 plus minutes still to go in the match. If we pick up an injury now, we have a problem. And we've got players who are still tiring. Vlahovic, Veloso Dos Santos, they're both very tired. We have played a lot of football just lately. We are still behind on XG in this game as well. Bayern are going to be somewhat frustrated. You know what? I don't care. We've banished the demon. They smashed us 6-0. We've now beaten them 2-0. And all is right in the world again. And I think that should, at the very least, guarantee us knockout football. There you go. We have secured a playoff spot. That just means we're guaranteed to finish top 24. Get out of here. I mean, you're still in a job in 10 years. You shouldn't be too grumpy about it. And I mean, I'm recording this a week in advance. He might be Spurs manager by now. Who knows? Wouldn't that be a thing? Let me know down in the comments if he's Spurs manager now. I probably know, but there's a chance that I won't. Right, we're going to play Fiorentina now. Let's keep this good form rolling. Well, about an hour and a half of real time has passed between those 2 matches. I think this is an unchanged team, but Paskev picked it before he went away, and Mansoray, I don't think, started the last game. There you go. Real detailed team news. I guess I could have gone and checked, but you know, where's the fun in that? Let's just go and win another football match. I do remember we were very good against Bayern Munich, so fingers crossed we're about to be very good again against a Fiorentina team who are hovering just outside the European qualification spot. So, I mean, theoretically, this should be a comfortable win for us. We're at home again. It's the away games we tend to struggle in. So hopefully we should be okay. The other thing I've, of course, got on my mind is the fact that we are now coming up to mid-December, and now the financial problems at the club have been completely solved by me and me alone. I can spend that £32 million remaining transfer budget we had left over from the summer. So I've got to think in terms of what we want. Now, I don't know that we need a left back anymore. I think Mansoray is very much settled himself in to be a left back. I'm sure he'll be a natural left back before too long. Likewise, I think the attack has probably been fixed with Bilger and Lazrak coming in. They can both play up front. Bilger's obviously going to be the long-term Vlahovic replacement and probably going to be one of the best players in the world within a few years, and will, I imagine, play centre forward to take over from Vlahovic whenever that may be, but has the brilliant advantage of being able to play out on either wing for as many years as it takes to Vlahovic to not be the best player in the world anymore. So we've got the perfect succession plan because Bilger can just keep playing and then slot over when the time comes. I don't know that we necessarily need another winger because we've already got Orbeck, who we signed back in the summer, who we've barely given any game time to at all. Likewise, at fullback, we've got another youngster called Inverardi, who's like our third choice right back. He's not getting enough game time. He's moaning. So I guess the place to spend the money is on the midfield. I'm looking at the midfield thinking, well, Veloso dos Santos and Graticos as our two starters, as good as they are, neither of them are actually full internationals for Spain or Portugal. So that would suggest they're probably the weak link. The rest of the team is absolutely rammed full of full internationals. So maybe a new midfield player. I'm not sure exactly what flavour we'll pick up, whether we'll go for someone to play box to box, even though we don't use that anymore, but we could potentially shuffle things around again, or whether we go for maybe a more attacking based one, but then that's effectively replacing Graticos, which I don't really want to do because he's still young and improving all the time, although he does seem to have maxed out at 3 stars of current ability and his potential has dropped down to 3 stars as well now, but that could just be a form thing. We know that form can have a bit of an impact on those star ratings. So certainly what I see on the pitch, you're seeing it again today. Graticos is on a 7.8. Whenever he plays, he looks really, really good. And likewise with Dos Santos. We've obviously got Gervasio as well, but Gervasio is 25 years old and still not broken into the team. So as much as I love him because he's homegrown at the club and he's 6'4", I suggest he's probably the player that needs replacing. We're losing Zabozlai, or we've lost Zabozlai to injury. He did his hip, so we've been without him for most of the first half of this season. Locatelli is out of contract at the end of this season and very unlikely to get a renewal this time because he's barely playing. So I imagine what we're looking at. Bacciarina, of course, is still here as well, but again, has kind of fallen down the pecking order with a combination of a couple of little niggling injuries and just being that little bit older and not one of my favourites. So I'm thinking we probably need someone to replace them lot because we're likely to lose 2, if not 3 of them in this coming summer. Now, I know it's unlikely, or unlikely is probably a bit strong. I'm not planning on being here for a 3rd season. I'd like to win the Champions League this year and then go back to Preston. But if we don't win the Champions League or the Preston job doesn't become available, then we might be doing a 3rd year here, especially if we haven't won the Champions League. I don't want to leave Juventus without winning the Champions League. And with Bilger being as good as he is, I certainly wouldn't object to another year managing Bilger because I can't imagine we're going to be able to take him to Preston, assuming that is the next step. And I think realistically, that's the only next and final step for this series. We go back to Preston, even if we have to go on holiday for 5 seasons to get to the point where the job becomes available. But I certainly, if we had to go 5 years in the future, there's no way at all that Bilger is available for a team like Preston. So it wouldn't upset me to manage him for another year. So we do need to be thinking in terms of what happens here next season. So I think on that basis, central midfield player. We've gone a long way around deciding what I probably already knew, but I think we need a central midfield player. Now, whether or not we can find one for £30 million in January, who's good enough to come and compete in this team straight away, is another matter. What we'd really like to do is find another young superstar like Bilger, and it doesn't matter what position he's in. If he's as good as him, has he got a brother? We'll just bring him in and fit him in, even if he's a striker or a left back or whatever it might be. Just get him in. Get Bilger's brothers in. That's the plan. Right, Secco to Sotalo. Let's have another goal before half-time. We're 2-0 up. It would be nice to grab a 3rd, just to finish things off. I mean, that was an ambitious ball forward. Vlahovic, he's getting on a bit. He's not going to be chasing balls like that when we're 2-0 up and comfortable. Maybe if it was a big game against a big team and we needed a goal, we were behind, and he was 5 years younger, maybe he chases that pass. But in these circumstances, he's just letting that sail over his head, as we've just seen. And that's poor from Lazrak as well. Maybe he's a player who needs replacing, although I do like the fact that he's got the flexibility of being able to play anywhere across the front 3. but maybe he shouldn't be a starter. Obviously, we've got Fabregas as well, who probably starts on that left-hand side half the time, with Lazrak starting there the other half. So he's not a nailed-on regular starter anyway, and we sometimes play him over on the right if Bilger drops out for a rest. So I think we're probably okay in the attack. We've obviously got Ruiz as well. We're definitely okay in that front three. I don't think we need anybody up there. If anything, we've got one too many with Orbeck. We've conceded a goal here, which we weren't supposed to do. We're supposed to be running away with the league. Inter have stormed up the league table in the last few matches, and their goal difference is nearly as good as ours now. There was a point, even as recently as yesterday's episode, where our goal difference was so much better than everybody else's. It was absurd. And that seems to have changed very quickly. And it's not that we've started getting absolutely thumped or stopped beating teams. Inter are just on an incredible run of form, and they're scoring a lot of goals, it seems. Right, Valente to Dos Santos, and then Bilger. What a pass from him again. I tell you what, he's a brilliant young striker, but his assists and his ability to spot the run of Vlahovic time and time again, he is just like a complete attacking player. I have no idea where his long-term position is going to be, whether it's going to be up front or whether he'll just stay out on one of these flanks forever and be brilliant out there. But that was a superb pass from him, and it's his second assist of the game. He's got 2 assists and a goal today. He's 19 years old. It's ridiculous how good he is. It's rare that you get a player this good, this young. He might just be the best signing of the season, of the series so far, bearing in mind how cheaply we were able to get him. He was less than 40 million, I think, for a player who's going to go on to become, I mean, he'll win a Ballon d'Or. I have no doubts at all Bilger will win a Ballon d'Or before we're done here. Bilger back to Dos Santos, and now Agostini crosses in. Vlahovic has got a hat-trick. It's yet another one. The referee is going to try and spoil everybody's fun by disallowing it. He's got his finger in his ear. But, I mean, it looked all right to me, unless Agostini was maybe the one who was offside. He wasn't. It's been given. Agostini played it into Bilger. Back to Dos Santos. Agostini again. And, yeah, there's no way he was ever offside. There's like 3 players playing him on. We didn't even get the tight offside thing. And we have got 4 goals. It's been completely dominant. And this is the cue to take Vlahovic off. We do it whenever we get into this kind of situation. We just don't need to risk him, because he's getting on a bit and he is still hugely important for us. So at this point, we can just put Bilger up front, and Vlahovic, he has to make do with hat-tricks now. We don't let him go beyond them anymore, because we don't need to wreck him. There's only so many matches still left in his old bones, and we want to have as many of them as possible. Right, Bilger's actually tiring now, so Lazrak can go up front, and we'll bring Ruiz on the right-hand side. We're also going to bring on Bremer at the back. In fact, we probably shouldn't be bringing Bremer on in this situation. We've got the youngster Kolarich, who is the guy who should be coming on and getting game time. So we'll bring Kolarich on. I need to remember to give him as much game time as possible, because I am being a little bit lax in bringing him through. In the way that I'm giving Maggioni lots of game time, I need to do the same thing with Kolarich. We'll take off Dos Santos as well. As the final change, bring on Gervasio and just cruise through the rest of the match. Easy peasy, comfortably top of the league, and dreaming of January transfers. What a time to be alive. Oh, we've got time for one more. Ruiz with, I mean, it's a weird free kick. It's a poor one. He does find Sotalo. I would have been aiming for this kind of area if I was hitting that free kick, but I guess that's why I'm just the handsome manager and we have to have somebody else to actually take the free kicks for us. But there is your full-time whistle. We are looking good for back-to-back Serie A titles, which will be the first time in like 6 or 7 years that anybody has won back-to-back Serie A titles. And I think it was Juventus last time as well. We can probably check. These feel like things we can check. Yeah, last time was Juventus back then. And we're setting up another period of dominance similar to that one during the 2010s. I've decided. 20 years later, we're doing it all over again. But round of applause for Vlahovic. And we will be back tomorrow, having finished off the Champions League and hopefully finished top 8 and done some January transfers. We might even come back and do Rosenborg and Lazio and the transfer deadline all in one. In fact, we won't, because Inter are right there. We're absolutely coming back for that Inter game. I'll just tell you what happened in all of these. I mean, spoilers, we'll probably win most of them, but that Inter game is going to be huge when it comes to this title race. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.